Hello, everyone, and welcome to Fusang Focus, hosted by Fusang. I'm Ila, your host for today, and as our regular audiences will know that we cover various topics with various industry experts in this discussion group. So along with that line, we've got with us today the CEO of Fusang, Henry Chong. So for everyone's knowledge, Fusang is Asia's first digital exchange platform. And our very special guest for today, the VP and Chief Digital Officer of Coke Japan, Mr. Keizo Ishii. Welcome, sir. Welcome, Henry.
Yes,
Thank you.
hello.
Yeah, thank you once again for joining me today, Henry and Mr. Keizo. So without further delay, I'll just quickly start and go to our today's topic. And our today's topic will be about how digital currencies can boost cross-border commerce. Now, all of us, we do understand and realize that digital communication has changed dramatically, at least in the last 5 to 10 years. Because people, the way they consume the data and how they expect everything to be in their palm. So let's discuss how will digital communication change and how that in effect will change the commerce, meaning the way people do business. So let me pose this question to Mr. Keizo first, and Henry can take it later. So how do you think, Mr. Keizo, based on your experience, what is the largest opportunity in Asia digital marketing in the next
Mm.
5 years?
Yeah, I have worked on digital commerce for 25 years now. It's a quarter of century. It's a lot of things happened in the past 25 years, but I mainly remember twice we had a huge change in 25 years in the past. One is um, when we changed from the telephone line to broadband. That's a huge transition. People start using more PCs and internet, and a lot of new services was available when we changed from telephone line connection to the broadband. Second one is smartphone, especially with 4G. When we have smartphone, now people start shifting from PC to smartphone, especially communication perspective. Right? People stop using email to communicate with friends and families. Now, like a chat app, especially in Asia, chat app is like a new communication tool, right? It's WeChat, KakaoTalk, Line, WhatsApp. They dominate the communications, and email is just a tool for office workers now, right? Then now we have 5G connections this year. Right? Some of the market in Asia already launched 5G for end consumers. Mainland China, Korea, and Japan too. Um, I experienced a couple of times for 5G, but it dramatically changed. It's completely different world. You can do anything through the internet. You can drive, you can operate the surgery, you can do anything. I think this new technology will change everything. And most of all, 5G is available for like mobile devices, including tablet or like a smartphone. So I really think the mobile will have more opportunity. I know it's already a big opportunity for Asia, but for next couple of years, mobile opportunity get even bigger.
Okay, that sounds very remarkable. What do you think about it, Henry?
I guess the topic that we at Fusang think a lot about is disintermediation. I think one of the key benefits of digital technologies is that it reduces the distance from companies to their customers. Once upon a time, for example, if a company wanted to communicate with their customers or market to their customers, you went to go run an ad in a newspaper or a magazine. There was a layer in between. And today, if a company wants to communicate to its customers, it can do so directly on social media. And more importantly, the customers can communicate back, right? It works both ways. Likewise, today, if a company wants to sell things to its customers, it can do so directly and online through e-commerce. But just as how you've had social media and e-commerce, I think that we will have a similar disintermediation in the capital markets. Right now, if a company, for example, wants to buy Coca-Cola products, or they want to communicate with Coke, they can do so directly, But if you want to buy shares, you got to go talk to a broker or a bank. There's still that layer in between. And we at Fusang are really excited about disintermediating that as well and allowing companies to interface directly with their customers in exactly the same way as they do for products with their own shares, with their own assets.
Okay, so that really speaks about the mobile to be expanded, right? Okay, so while we do talk about the expansion of mobile, so what do you think would be the key to win on this platform, specifically on this mobile platform? Maybe you can start with Henry first.
Honestly, very simply, I think it's all about user experience. In today's world, people's standard for that user experience is so high. If you're in a mobile application and doing something takes more than even 3 seconds, it's too long. People get bored. I mean, if you think, it doesn't sound that long, but if you think about it, right, 1,000, 2,000, you're like, oh, you lose interest. Right? People expect things to work well and smoothly and seamlessly. And I think we've actually been spoiled by a lot of the tech companies, right? We're used to Amazon where you can tap, tap, and boom, something appears at your door. And I think all businesses in this digital world need to really seriously think about their customer experience. If you are in the financial industry, for example, not naming names, but does it work like that? Do your customers have that same experience where it feels seamless? And if it doesn't, I think that really requires businesses to rethink what that customer journey looks like.
True, true. So what do you think about this, Mr. Keizo?
Well, I think it's in a mobile. My answer is how to communicate with consumers. So messaging strategy should be the key strategy. Um, and I think it's like a Nike. I think with 5G technologies and more mobile expansions, the companies is now moving and shifting from big aggregators business to direct business now. So Nike is big, good example. They stop using Amazon to sell their product already, and I think it's lots more companies now shifting from big aggregator to the direct business now.
Yeah.
For a messaging perspective, I think is we should have like this is my personal logic, but we should have four core competence to reach out to the consumers efficiently. The four core competence, the first core competence is uniqueness. Always like on digital commerce, product should have real good personalizations or customization or optimization for the consumers. We cannot sell the same product to the consumers. Another core competence I'm always talking about is exclusiveness. Customer always need good reason to visit to your stores. It can be an exclusiveness, so it should be an early launch or exclusive offers or like a very special product. In the meantime, people are always looking for new experience, something special. It's gonna be additional value. Um, well, I'm always using this example. It's a cooking pan, right? If you sell cooking pan on internet, no one buy the cooking pan on our website because cooking pan is available everywhere. However, if you say just targeted single solo customers, then maybe male customers, then we propose, what about new lifestyle with cooking? Then creating fashionable cooking pan, then sell the cooking pan. Now you have opportunity because you have value. Always value on digital commerce is behind the product. So that experience is third core competence. And finally, the retention. They always like a customer's retention mean it, it should be it shouldn't be a subscription, but always from my experience in past 25 years, even if the website is very successful, like my previous company, Expedia, is very successful. However, new customer acquisition cost is always negative. We can never get 100% ROIs for only for new customer acquisitions. And most of the case, 100% of profit come from existing customers. But the retention rate should be the most important KPI for the digital commerce. But we should have a real good retention program. So uniqueness, exclusiveness, experience, and retention strategies. And we should combine those four core competence to communicate with customers. And that's the key to win in the digital commerce in mobile.
You know, I completely agree with everything that you said. And I especially like the point about, we talk about existing customers. Uh, you know, I believe that all businesses, Pareto distributions, the 80-20 rule is true of every company. And in every company, often 80% of your revenue comes from 20% of your customers. And I'm willing to bet most businesses that it's about the 20% of customers that are diehard loyalists, that not only will buy anything your brand puts out, they will tell all their friends that they should buy it, and they'll tell their friends why this is the best brand and you have to buy this brand. And I completely agree. I really think businesses should be doubling down on those customers. And you know, I guess to me, the one thing that a lot of businesses have never really explored before, because there's just been no mechanism, no platform, is, yeah, I want to rethink the product side. How do I sell things? How do I customize products for that core group of people? How do I rethink that loyalty model, the subscription model? I'm personally really excited about starting to think about, hey, this 20% of people are such die-hard believers in my brand. What if I find a way to turn these key stakeholders into shareholders so that, yes, they are a customer of my brand, they buy my products, but they also have a real stake in the company, so that when they tell their friends about my product, it's not just because they believe in it, it's, hey, they really have a real interest in this. And I honestly believe that if businesses and brands can find a way to really incentivize that core 20% group of loyal customers, some really, really interesting things will start to happen.
I agree with that. I completely agrees. My previous company was a travel company, so just leveraging the travel company's examples, we have like a three layers, right? And top layers is like aggregator site, like Trivago, TripAdvisors. They are big aggregators, and they got commission from the travel agencies. Then we're competing pricing on those websites, right? And always new customer come from here. Then second layer is like a travel agencies. We try to have good loyalty program. However, always new well, if I comparing with like getting the new customer by own, still the paying commission to the aggregator side is much cheaper. So leveraging those websites to get new customers. However, the hotel website still working with Expedia or other travel agencies websites. Now, the hotel company pay the commission to travel agencies. Now, travel agency is using Expedia like a new customer acquisition channels, then try to bring them to their membership program. So it's very interesting, but we have some layers, and I agree with you. We should have real good retention and subscription model.
Okay, that's interesting. So the key that I could actually see in both of the agreement is it has to be seamless, targeted, and two-way, so that this interaction we basically create some loyalty among the audiences. So
Agree,
that's
agree.
interesting. That's really interesting. So what else can you think that we do with mobile? Because I think we're just talking about the audience behavior, but where do we think that this could go bigger?
Mm. I
Yeah.
think is the big change we when shifting from PC to mobile. The biggest change comes from the style of communication style, right? So email is like a virtual mailbox. So people still send letter to your mailbox. And still, you need to open your mailbox and read the letter, right? But mobile communication is more like virtual communications or a conversation, right? So one message and other one send another message, and it's like a virtual communication instead of letters. So it's more frequent, and also obviously conversation will create a deeper connection with consumers, right? And to be honest, except work office, right? The office email, I think it's once a week or twice a week people check email box, but right, few people just check email every day. But for the chat app, people always check like every 1 hour, 2 hours. People check the chat app and communicate each other. So I think it's from the frequency perspective, the mobile communication will create deeper
Yeah, hence
communication.
even the chat businesses are actually focusing on businesses now. So they have got business accounts. So they also want businesses to be a part of that sort of communication instead of only emails,
Yeah,
right?
no, I
Exactly.
agree with that. And I'm actually curious, Kiz, about how you are using chat specifically in your business. I think all of us can buy into that concept that there is no better engagement than real-time live chat. And a lot of businesses I talk to say, yes, we understand we need that interactive two-way communication, but they're not sure about how to really use it in their business to drive the actual business outcomes. So they say, if I have this product, what does that really mean beyond just the very superficial level of, okay, if you need some help or support services, okay, you contact customer service through this chatbot. But in terms of actual, what does that mean about building a relationship with your
Mm.
customers? That's where a lot of businesses are struggling.
Well, there are two areas we can leverage chat app to communicate with end consumers. First area is we can use chat app for marketing strategies. And always like people struggle to monetize the chat app investment. However, well, I tested many times, but it seems like my best practice is to separate consumers into four layers, right? For example, if I'm in Japan, so Line is the biggest chat app in Japan. Is 80% of Japanese has Line account here. So around 90 million people has account in Japan. Then if you create your official account online platform, now you have access to 90 million people. However, most of the case, people had made a mistake to send core marketing message to 90 million people, and no one react on your message, and you just waste your money because in this startup business, first things we need to do is to build engagement. So messaging strategy is all about engagement. And once we build engagement between company and the consumers, now we can send marketing message and we can generate sales. So this is like midterm strategies. So most of company fail to monetize messaging strategies from day one. But we're gonna say, well, I recommend to spend 6 to 12 months to develop the engagement first, then try to monetize those investments. That's one area. Second one is consumer support, customer support areas. Always call center is huge expense for companies, but we have much better AIs with the natural language processing, and now with the chatbot, so many areas in the customer support area we replace with chat app instead of real call centers, and it's gonna make a huge cost cut for the companies.
Okay, that's really insightful. So I do remember Henry was mentioning just now about how people can buy stuff, but they are still not doing exchange on mobile. So I think this would be something really good. I think maybe Henry can get us some insights on how can businesses break country border and currency when they feel like they want to do also business via mobile.
And like I said, I guess for Fusang, what we are most focused on is the asset side of things, right? Every company has two halves of the balance sheet. There is the income and the revenue bit. How do I make money? How do I talk to my customers? And every company in the world has a marketing team, a customer service team to interact with those customers, because if your customers don't like you and pay you money, you have no business.
Yeah.
But most companies, especially big public companies, have a whole separate investor relations team that talks to their shareholders, right? Because you need both halves. And they're completely different groups of people with different teams talking to different groups of people. That structure, that's just the way the world is right now. But I don't think that's how the world could or should be. I guess I'm really excited about a world in which those two groups of people start to merge, where you say, wait a minute, if my business only exists because my customers like me and pay me money, what if I could find deeper ways to engage them into my business, to truly build that loyalty and make them feel like they are part of the business, as opposed to it being a very removed us versus them type conversation. And if I can believe that, hey, I'm part of this business, and it's a whole value network, right? I, the customer, pay the business, but I also get benefits back from the business. And I think if you can do that by converting some of these customers into shareholders, that's very exciting. Not just at the financial level of saying, well, maybe you can partake in my financial benefits, but if businesses can start to rethink, the question of, if I had, let's say, digital shares, if I could make it easier and cheaper and more accessible for my end customers to buy my shares than ever before, and if they could do that at the same places that they buy my products. So when they buy my products and they say, you know what, I really like this company, maybe I should buy some of their shares. If we can make, again, the user experience simpler, we can start to rethink what it means to be a shareholder beyond just, hey, I get some financial benefits. I think brands need to start thinking along the lines of saying, hey, if you're a shareholder, you have unique access to our products, you have unique discounts perhaps, right? And really starting to think about the fundamentals of what is it my company does. For example, for Fusang ourselves, we're really interested in thinking about a referral program where we say, hey, as an exchange, right, the more investors we have, the more companies we have listing, the more value we have. We're just a marketplace, we're an ecosystem, and we need more and more people on our marketplace. How can we incentivize people to want to come into our marketplace and basically give back some of that value that we have as a network? Right? We get value from investors being on our platform. How can I give back that value? And if we can make that value exchange work both ways, they said, look at turning those stakeholders into shareholders, I think we can do some pretty exciting things.
That's an interesting thought process. What do you think about it, Mr. Keizo? Because you represent brand and you deal with these stakeholders on a daily basis. Those are your customers. How do you think that you could relate to the idea that Henry has just shared? Do you think that's relevance there, or what do you think would be the challenge for that?
Yeah, I think it's the big challenge is like, well, I completely agree with Henry then to build like a relationship with consumers and that's very important part. But the biggest challenge stays always those needs change every day, right? Based on the environment and market situations, needs from needs from our consumers is changing. So it, it is extremely difficult in order to build like ecosystem with like consumers or customers. um, I think that system should be very much variable. Based on the environment change, the system need to modify a little. And food and well, if we have like 100 consumers, there are 100 different needs exist. So I think I like to leveraging some machine learning AIs, then and making a more one-to-one kind of communications, then try to optimize our UX and user experience for each consumer.
Okay, that's rather interesting. So, do you think that we can use any specific method, like you just mentioned, right? We use AI or machine learning, some other technological way that we can make this sort of adoption faster? Do you think
Mm,
there's any other way that we can do this? Because we feel like, like the currencies, like you just shared, that digital
mm,
currency, probably that could
mm.
be one way. Do you think that could help, or?
Yeah, that should be the one. The one of the biggest pain points the end consumer has is currencies and all the legal barriers, between countries and countries. Um, I like to use more like an internet service somewhere in Europe, somewhere in South Asia, maybe North America too. But one, the currency is different, and it is very hard to calculate everything, right? Japanese yen versus US dollars plus interest, and it's very difficult, right? And also, I need to talk about if the physical product moves somewhere to Japan, I need to calculate some tax too. Um, it is very much difficult things, and especially for the end consumers. If it's corporate customers, I think it's possible still, but for the individual consumers, it is very hard, and few people is doing that. So my propose is, I think is we should have one big online currency, virtual currency for uh, e- e- global e-commerce. It can be like anything, like it can be Facebook Libra or something others, right? Then everyone using same currency to use on internet, because internet doesn't have the country borders, right?
Boundaries. Yeah.
Right. And also those big e-commerce companies like Taobao, Amazon, like those companies should have discussion with like a head of government in major countries in the world. Then we should have one consolidated regulation all over the world. Well, actually, some of the big global companies do already doing that. For example, my previous company was Estee Lauder. It's cosmetic companies, and they have each P&L in each country. But there are another P&L exists within Estee Lauder companies, which is travelers business. It's duty-free business. You have so many Estee Lauder shop on airport, right? So they combined all business all over the world into the one P&L, then calculate it, right? So that is another virtual country. But I think internet is same with the airport business. Internet never has country border, so we should have one consolidated regulations and one consolidated currency for e-commerce to develop the business.
Yes. No, I couldn't agree more. I think the world is becoming a smaller and flatter place, and that's driven by the internet, driven by digital adoption. And more and more brands are becoming global. We all buy from the same brands. We watch the same TV shows. I really think the world is really becoming more of a global community. And I think right now, with COVID raging on around us, that has really driven that point home, that we're really all just part of one small little planet. And a lot of these distinctions between like physical borders, people I think are going to start rethinking and rethink about what that means to live and exist and work in a digital world. And even like us today, we're three people sitting in three different places on a virtual call. And I think a lot of these borders are just going to start coming down. And I couldn't agree more with you in the sense that, again, brands need to be rethinking that relationship with their customers and say, you know what, the customer doesn't really care if they're doing business with a branch in Japan, Hong Kong, or Singapore. They want to interact with me as a brand, right? They like my product, they want to buy it, they want it to be as easy as possible. And brands need to rethink what that means to exist in a global world.
Yeah, so I was very lucky when I heard from President Obama when he was president of the U.S. and he is talking about like a TPPs or like a free tax between countries, and it's going to generate more e-commerce business, right? But well, currently it's like a trend of the world is different way, right? People try to block, right? The between China and US. I think those conversations should be should be opposite conversation. We should have more like what can I say, the borderless discussions to develop the global economy. And also, I'm always talking about like accounting regulation too. Every countries, every stock market has different accounting regulations, right? US GAAP, IFRS, they should have like a consolidated accounting regulations. Now, the rest of the world will follow to that, right? So first of all, North America and Europe need to have one consolidated accounting regulation. Now we can have a lot of things to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So digitalization could be the new normal. So that's a very good
Will be
discussion.
the new normal, I think. And like I said, I think in this period, the world has been catapulted into a digital world, like it or not. This is the greatest exercise in rapid digitization the world has ever seen. And I really think that as we come out of this period, and I believe that we will come out of this period, the businesses, I think, that embrace digitization as not something to be fought, but as something that will help them interact with their customers and deepen those relationships with their customers and operate at a level of efficiency they could have only dreamed of before. I think those businesses are the ones that are going to thrive in the global economy.
Yeah. Well said, Henry. So thank you so much, Mr. Keizo Ishii and Henry, for your valuable insights.
Thank you to you.
I'm very, yeah, so I'm very sure the audiences are well informed through our discussion. It's a very, very valuable discussion. So hopefully our paths will cross again in future. Have a great day. Till then, till we meet again. Stay safe, stay home, and stay tuned with Fusang Focus. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
All
Thank you
right.
very much.